Hey, let's check in with Starbase again because it's time for another summary. In this one, we're going to be looking at some work on the Pad 1 chopsticks. Going to be making some people hungry, as it turns out. The Gigabay is going to get some cladding. That seems like it's the new work continues on the OLM. And we are going to see some new work platforms arriving out at Starbase via the port road, if I'm not mistaken. So let's hop right in and see what we see going on this time at Starbase. This is a shot out at Boca Chica Beach. Just a little morning shot. You got some little waving grass in the foreground, some morning things, the wave warning and stuff like that. But nearby there is that air separation unit. Remember, this is the closest structure to the water line there. The air separation unit, of course, when it comes completely online, is going to be making propellants there. They can get some of the gases that they need to use just straight out of the atmosphere because the atmosphere around you already has nitrogen in it, right? It has oxygen in it, has some different gases that they're going to use. So the purpose of this big plant is to separate, it's right there in the name, the different components out of that air so that they can use it instead of having to ship every single thing in. Now, that plant's not going to make enough, I don't know if it's going to make any of the methane. It's not going to make all of the consumable propellants or gases that the ship is going to need, but it's going to help a little bit. And if they really do start to get the cadence up, maybe it'll get scaled up. Maybe this is going to be a pilot program for something larger somewhere else. But you can see right there is just right across the street from Pad 1. Pad 1 rebuild is still underway. You can see Buckner brought their carry-on there. It's a little bit larger of a carry-on. When you can lift it with a crane, you think you can do a 40-foot connex in there. There's a close-up of the... Look, that's just what comes out of my brain, all right? Close-up of the structure. Got some new upgrades reinforcing those joints on the chopsticks. Again, we're looking at Pad 1 here. I know there's a lot of rust, but also that gets ground off and repainted and stuff like that. Of interest is the new wireless upgrade that they've installed. I don't know if that's like Bluetooth or some air gap for security or what's going on, but that one diagonal, it's missing a piece there. Not entirely sure what's happening there. Maybe, I don't know if something was like a little out of whack and they took this off and they're going to try to stretch it or compress it or something with that, but they just took a whole chunk out. There's some flame trench wall segments that'll get lifted into the trench and put down in there to shore up, it's probably a right term, the walls of the flame trench. Got an excavator going on the sort of side of the tank farm there. See, they've got that new way to drive around the outside there. Maybe they'll be expanding a little bit. Oh, I like those big flex hoses. Those are some serious, like, stainless steel flex hoses. If you're hungry at Starbase, you can pull up in your Cybertruck. Actually, you can't do any of this. SpaceX employees can pull up to Flaps Restaurant. You can see on the sides there, that is an employee only. It's only for SpaceX. But they made that sort of shade structure from some of the very old flaps that they had out there. I think it's cool that they do stuff like that. But again, that's only for employees there. Also, the food trucks. If you're interested in food trucks around Starbase, they do have them. Not exactly the lunch dress right now at, can anybody read the name of that? Joios, Juicios, Java? I couldn't read it. I think we'll do an entire video that's just food truck coverage. I got some comments that there was not enough food truck love in these videos. So, in any event, kicking back over to the Gigabay. Cladding gets added to the Gigabay here on a regular basis. It continues to crawl up the sides. So, well, I mean, it's lifted up the sides. Cranes and lifts and stuff like that. It's not crawling itself. That would actually be really cool. Oh, that's a cool track. One of our Starbase Live operators was tracking the crane basket. That's like a makeshift elevator that can take you where you want to go as long as the crane can reach there. That was actually a really interesting track. Nice job, Starbase Live. The Starbase Live operators catch cool stuff like that on occasion. They catch stuff like that a lot of the time, actually. Here's the actual crane lifting a piece of cladding up. Caesar going to punch in over here and get us a closer up view right next to the crane. But again, this is from the road area across the street. We're not too close to it. It's the movie magic of how lenses work. But there's a person for scale. If you were wondering how many stories that piece of cladding is, I'd say it's like 2.5, if not 3 stories of cladding per clad piece. Panel is probably the right way to say it there on the side of the building. But you can see it's continuing to grow up there. Those cranes are still in the middle of it. It's going to be interesting how those cranes that have now sort of been locked into the middle of the Gigabay will come down. But I think they're in booster areas, right? So they have room to move themselves down. Remember, they can sort of take themselves apart. I'm going to jump in on some ship tiling here in the background. We've got some little patchwork of tiles there, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything terrible's going on. Some pad work structures, allowing easier access to parts of the launch mounts. Interestingly, these are coming in. They were built elsewhere, and this is coming in off of that port connector road, if I'm not mistaken. They have it's not an SPMT, it's like a hybrid SPMT sort of thing, where they have the tow platform for the big load, but it's pulled by a truck there. It's usually used for the longer distance moves versus the completely self-propelled transporters. And if I'm not mistaken, y'all tell me, I'm looking at the truck wheels. I feel like those road wheels are like longer distant road wheels, but it's been a while since an SPMT has almost run over my toe at Starbase. So I'm not entirely sure, because some of those old SPMTs had like off-road wheels. They looked like they were for less prepared surfaces, shorter distance, but more like gnarly. Not mud tires, not balloon tires, but they had some traction, some tread on it, right? These look like longer distance sort of setups. It's like a land train. It's actually kind of cool. Big thanks to the team for rolling out and getting that stuff coming in. Those came in pretty late at night, and then the robotic ops team getting these shots here for us. Also, we've got some tanks coming in from the port. Looks like this one says it's going to be for liquid nitrogen. You just don't understand how big these tanks are. It's just a ridiculously large tank. It doesn't fit in the... I guess it does fit in the camera, but I can't quite see the truck. Yeah, there you go. Look at the cab of the semi-truck there. And remember, if you stand next to a semi-truck, your head's not going up above the top of the grill, and that thing's like, what do you want to say, 2.25 semi-trucks tall. Americans will use anything except the metric system. I'm going to measure it in measure height in semi-truck heights. But we need to get out there and clean that camera. It looks like it's almost impossible, especially like a nighttime shot like that. The lights really show the dust on the lens, and it's not like we can't go out there every single day and wipe them off. Before big events, launch, rollout, we'll usually get out there and make sure they're nice and cleaned up, but we can't do that for every single tank roll. We would go insane. We're already a little insane. We're a little crazy. It's just we try to maintain our sanity by just accepting that it's a tough environment out there, and we can't always keep every lens as pristine as the day that it came off the... I don't know where the lenses come from. Production lines, assembly lines, lens polishing facilities. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, tank turning in to the launch site over here. Remember, it came from the port. But this is like almost the whole journey of this tank coming all the way in. But I guess we really did pick it up over there near the river site. Hey, we're going to jump over to McGregor again real quick. Again, we're not going to do this every single video, but we spotted Raptor 225. And as far as I know, that's almost a 24-25 jump from the last number we've seen. That doesn't mean that they don't have the interim engines. We don't see every single engine that comes by because there's a couple different roads. Oh, look at this. We're going to go almost frame by frame, chunk, chunk, chunk. There's a couple different roads and different ways that they can move them, so we just see the ones that come close to the camera side over there. But pretty clearly, Raptor 225 being pulled by the Cybertruck there. This was interesting as well. I asked them to give me some information on the interesting thing that's happened. But this is actually... The plume in front is stage 2. The stage in the background was a Merlin test firing, and then this was a stage 2 happening. But the interesting thing is they did it at the same time. I don't know if I can name another launch facility that fires 2 different engines at the same time. Those stands are really close to each other there at McGregor. So I figured that was an interesting sort of thing to show. Like, SpaceX, so busy, they're firing 2 engines at the same time. Here we've got a work stand. It's almost like a permanent scaffolding, it looks like, being installed over there. You know them and their cadence. They're firing 2 engines at the same time. They need to do some stuff to get the cadence of these stands up. So maybe that's what's happening here. We see them installing some more permanent structure as opposed to temporary scaffolding. But again, not gonna hit you with McGregor every single time. We're just looking for things that rise to the level of interest. Remember, you can watch 24/7 and over on McGregor Live. Big thanks to the team that keeps that going as well. More tanks coming from the port. You know, it really is the downtime in between launches, so you see these sorts of things coming in. I'm not going to say at a fast cadence. They're not getting like a tank a day or anything like that. But now's the time to do that sort of stuff, and we see it quite often. It's not a shuttle tanker, is it? Got to look out for the shuttle tanker carrying propellants to and from as well. Excellent, I guess, sewage bunker. It's not sewage. It's like an electrical bunker. That cover there, if I remember correctly, I think that's just access to like an electrical junction or something like that. But you know that cars aren't going to drive over that thing. Well, you hope that cars aren't going to drive over that thing. So we put our camera behind it because it serves as sort of a natural block for people that are trying to park on the side of the road. But another big tank getting pulled in with a semi-truck for scale out there at the launch sites. Launch sites, yeah. Anyways, as you do, hey, as always, I do read the comments. I reply to you down below. If you tell me in the comments that you want more food truck comment, I'm going to deliver. I have radios. I can talk to people and be like, hey, can you get pictures of food trucks for us? Somebody wants food trucks. But as always, appreciate y'all hanging out with us and keeping up with what's going on at Starbase. My name's Das, and we will see you nerds later.